Yeah, I'm not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about it. I'm not sure about what that's all about there. Why worry?
I think that's what he was thinking when he was composing that.
I mean,
why worry if it's good?
Yeah. It's also got a kind of British Commonwealth West Indies calypso feel or something. With they're in Montserrat.
I think it's more like him gearing up for the score to The Princess Bride that he did.
Yeah.
It's more that kind of feel, kind of a fantasy.
Yeah.
A medieval fantasy.
A bit of a Cucumber Castle.
Calypso breakdown.
Toto do a record in the early 80s? I was thinking about saying the Bee Gees are the most Spinal Tap band of all time, and then I remembered that Toto's trajectory is their first record is like Hold the Line. I think it's their second one is just a medieval progressive fantasy record.
Is that the one with like the sword?
Well, they all have a sword, don't they? but like a sword in a stone. I think the hit off the one I'm thinking of is 99. I love you. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. They have such specific melodies that are always the same. Well, it's
you know
good.
a lot about Toto. Like you reference them a lot.
Well, it was not really good like in the early internet, kind of early YouTube. There's that amazing yacht rock spoof documentary series. Have you ever seen it?
I remember it.
Yeah, and it's like, from like 15 years ago probably, and it's some guys who it's a kind of a Longmont feel where it's like it just kind of lives in its own world, or at least it does in my mind. It's possible that the people who made it are like writing on fucking SNL. Well, that's not possible because SNL's not been funny for years, so it's not that. But
I doubt
it's possible they're doing something. But that yacht
they
rock
started Adult Swim. Or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, Norm Macdonald, Lonely Island, or as I like to call it, Andy and the other two guys. What does he say? Or like,
I don't know if I know that bit.
In the YouTube Awards.
Oh God,
he's just going off on Jenny Slate.
Oh, yeah, where they're just outside, like sitting around, like and it's sort of like they all realized really quickly that it was a bad idea to hire Norm.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
It's peak Norm. It's like the butterfly joke, kind of like it's just him at his
best. The box office poison.
There you go. Yeah,
probably the best ever joke. A guy came into Zulu who told me he was a Norm Macdonald fan, and I was like, on YouTube I watched that famous Courtney Thorne Smith interview where he, and he was like, box office poison. And I was like, yeah, on Conan. And he was like, dude, when that came out in the 90s, it was like, he's like 10 years older than us. He was like, it was like a bootleg VHS.
That
like
rules.
Somebody taped it and it was going around Vancouver, just the internet. And he was like, it was like, if somebody had it at their house, we just watch it 30 times.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the Toto thing, it's just I think that I watched those yacht rock mockumentary. Like, I'm gonna rewatch those tonight. They're so funny. It's just like it'll be like a guy. It's like a fake behind the music. It's a guy being like, we're gonna go behind the scenes with Toto and the inspiration for Rosanna, and then they have like people pretending like Michael. They all live on a dock. So like Michael McDonald's always there, and like, like Boz Scaggs,
just actors playing them.
Well, it's like they're not even really actors, It's just like it's us doing it basically. It's fucking hilarious, and like it's just I'm gonna watch them all, and then I'm gonna watch them all, and then I'm gonna come back like
sounds great.
A Wednesday.
Should we pause right now? And then
No, I'm gonna do it in between, and then I'm gonna just reference loads of it.
Great.
There's a couple of things.
We should do a yacht rock one Wednesday.
There's a couple of things that are
planning our podcast on the air.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, this is very professional.
Well, there's a couple of things in that. No, I'm thinking about it now. It's getting me fucking right pumped. There's a couple of things in it that are dead good, like that. When something's so funny that you take a bit with you, you
Yeah.
know, and you use it
course.
like Longmont style.
Yeah.
There's one where like Michael McDonald and Steve Perry. No, it's like someone playing. Fuck, who's the Flashdance guy, the Footloose guy?
Kenny Loggins.
Yeah, there's someone playing Kenny Loggins, and he's saying to his friend, like Michael McDonald's like I've lost it, Kenny. You know, I've lost it. He's like, you need to come into the '80s, Michael. Like, and then Steve Perry from Journey just shows up in like a fucking like kimono, like, or like a karate outfit, and they're like, you need to come with us, man. We're going into the '80s, and he says he doesn't want to go. His pride is too. He wants to stay in the '70s because his pride is too. Like, I don't want to come with all these synthesizers and stuff. He's like, Michael, you'll become an irrelevant joke. And I always think that's what gets him. He's like, I'm an irrelevant joke, Kenny.
You ever seen that sketch, that SCTV sketch where Rick Moranis
Classic.
plays Michael McDonald?
Classic.
Yeah, the best.
It is the best.
Ride Like the Wind.
Ride Like the Wind.
Amazing.
Christopher Cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird.
A day in the life of a background vocalist.
It's really good. Michael McDonald was just on fucking everything, wasn't he? Then, so
You know, my friend Sam, friend of the pod, I believe, his dad was in Toto, and I'm hoping to have him on next month as a guest.
That rules.
He's probably the best guitar player I know too. Sam plays in the Grateful Shred and Mapache.
Yeah, but like, what did his dad play in Toto?
I'm not too sure
Because there's
but,
not
like,
many.
We'll find out.
There's not many people I can think.
Real kind of rock and roll family.
Singer Bobby Kimball,
No, I think he played guitar.
but not the guitarist who no one can ever
He's
remember.
not.
Eddie's
he told me he's
friend.
not on Thriller.
No,
So it's
not-
later,
it's
the later era.
later Toto.
Yeah.
but there's maybe two guitarists at that point.
Yeah.
yeah.
Blasucci is his name.
Okay.
Last name. So
I'll
we can
do
look
some
it up.
detective work there. Yeah,
Yeah. But
maybe we
anyway,
could do Toto 4 with him.
We'll get Sam on. Yeah.
That could be our yacht rock record. I mean, it is funny though because becoming, you know, like it's not, you know, becoming an artist who embraced the sound of the '80s and the like, the future of music, like Kenny Loggins did or Michael McDonald did. And we're kind of in that world because this is what Dire Straits did for sure
did.
on this on Brothers in Arms.
Only in like you know, they saw the future format wise, I believe.
Yes,
I remember working at a record store. Brothers in Arms was always it was Grant used to always say, "Oh, classic CD release." It may have been the first ever
sell 1 million.
CD
It was.
produced. No, like manufactured.
actually to be made.
First, like major label album.
Fact check that for us, please,
released
guys.
on CD. It might be, and
It certainly was the first to sell 1 million copies on CD.
yeah. And I'll tell you, if it wasn't, it certainly was fucking close because, man, we used to get about 25 copies a week of that shit traded
Yeah,
into the store.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
People saying it's worth money.
Oh,
This is Brothers in Arms.
yeah.
You kidding me? I love all this shit.
All this fucking.
I love all this shit. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what the hell to say about this fucking.
I don't
record,
fucking
dude.
even understand this record. Tell me a little
It
bit
sucks.
about.
I mean, they
tell me
did
a-
the right thing. I'll tell you. You know the smartest thing they did on
Yeah.
this? First 3 tracks, So Far Away, Money for Nothing, Walk of Life.
Yeah.
Great job, because then after that, it just sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how any of these songs go.
So I did some real research on this record. I went on our I went on our Wikipedia page, you know, and I noticed that like most of the Wikipedia page was about the gear used.
Well, it's technically
Technically,
of like our podcast, content-wise,
not
nothing to
much.
write home about.
Technically,
Technically,
if you're into that style of like production, it is the gold standard.
Gaucho and Brothers in Arts, like
Gaucho's different. Gaucho's like Yeah, sure. There's a partial lineage. I'd say the Nightfly more.
Right.
That's like Fagan.
But
solo.
you know how Gaucho was like at the time the most expensive record ever recorded.
It still sounds
like
good, though.
Brothers in Arms to me has that kind of energy surrounding it, where it's like big money,
technical,
like big rock star, bloated rock star, bourgeois energy.
Yeah,
that's like. And then all the promotion and marketing behind it is all like, oh, this is like
technically,
like no expense was spared.
No, in making
the like guitar recording techniques.
Although that is kind of interesting because the guitar recording, that shit was the best thing that they stumbled upon in trying to go for a ZZ Top style sound,
gritty tone.
They stumbled upon a mic technique by accidentally forgetting they just had the mics pointed towards the ground. And that's the secret of Knopfler's
tone. The engineer
tone.
heard something magical in the control room.
And it turns out they just didn't set the mics up.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, apparently... I can't even.
Were you pulling up your notes here?
No, I can't even find this. No, but apparently,
dude, I'm going full free jazz today.
No.
I'm not even going to speak about Dire Straits. I know nothing about them.
Apparently, Mark Knopfler called Billy Gibbons.
Okay,
and asked him what made his riffs so dirty.
Well, I think he used a nickel or something.
To which Gibbons directly hung up the phone on him.
Fuck yeah,
which I love that.
Yeah. Do you think the riff from Money to Nothing is technically difficult to play?
Well, I can tell you right now that I learned to play it today.
Okay.
So are you asking my opinion or the opinion of the majority of, guitarists?
Pro level guitarists in a kind of consumer...
I can tell you, in my opinion...
Is this something that's controversial?
It is, James. I was on YouTube last night, and I went to the Money for Nothing. I was watching it on YouTube.
The video. The biggest
No, it wasn't even the video.
Of all time.
It wasn't even the video. It was just like the album cover with the song.
It's like
25,000 comments.
It's unfathomable to me that that is the biggest video of all time, too. I guess it's the first video.
But I can tell you, for those of you who maybe checked out our Instagram account earlier.
Yeah, I heard you were doing some
You
stuff.
saw me performing the riff to Money for Nothing on my Vox Honeytone. Oh, Dan Electro. Sorry, excuse me.
Sure. Sorry, sponsors.
Pardon me. And, I want you guys all to know that I learned the riff about a minute before I did that.
Uh-huh.
Which is why it's not very good.
Well, I thought it was effortless. A lot of that has to go down to the equipment, though.
Well, of course.
You're using industry standard, the only industry standard guitar amplifier that you can buckle to your belt.
Well, yeah, and I even have an appropriately length patch cord for it.
Yeah, well, custom
I don't
made.
want to get trip over anything.
No, you got a custom made.
Yeah, it's custom, yeah. But I would say that it was
tipped, is it?
very easy to learn.
Yeah.
But, which is kind of the consensus because...
well, it's what to say about the blues. It's easy, but you can never perfect it.
Yeah. I
bet Martin Knopfler would have something to say about that.
So... I was on the YouTube video for this song, and let me tell you that I saw a debate explode.
Okay.
When at Mr. Gilbert said...
Sure.
that this was a very difficult riff to play,
to perfect or just to play technically?
Just to play.
Yeah, just technically.
And everybody really, really, which, they jumped on him and said that it's actually very easy to
Interesting.
learn. But then I thought that Josh LaForest had a great take on the riff, technically. He says, playing the riff dry... without small, concise improvisations throughout should be easy to mildly challenging for the intermediate guitar player.
Yeah, intermediate level.
But to command the level and cleanliness of his quick improvs and still keep the riff recognizable in such a short window, repeatedly and differently, would challenge expert players for certain.
Yeah. Well, that is
There are riffs with much more room to play, but Knopfler seems not to care about having half a second to throw as many hammer-ons, pull mutes, and slides he can into the tiniest crack in the riff, and still not choke out his sound or overplay the instrument.
I mean, I was going to say that is what Knopfler's famous for, isn't it? Kind of the J.J. Cale school of guitar.
You got one fingering for the whole fucking riff. But it is in the nuances. I don't disagree. But, you know. And then Yosutu says, this riff is what you hear when you enter guitar heaven.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting... I would assume it's not that. I would say it's going to be, Stairway to Heaven, presumably. Or maybe that's on the way up.
I'm surprised you didn't comment on this thread, because that was like 18 replies where, no, it's Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, sure.
But like he was factually incorrect about that.
I was on Gear Sluts earlier, checking out some Cyber Monday deals, so I wanted to check out some reviews. And it gets heated over there, man. I was thinking of buying the UHE Satin tape VST. Satin, it's called. It's great.
Buddy, you're speaking German to me right now.
Well, it's a German company, so that makes sense.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. And I was... A guy said, do these plugins ever go on sale? Because they don't seem to, and a lot of other companies do. And there'd been a response from the company itself being like, we don't really put our plugins on sale because we just like to respect that everyone pays the same amount for them or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And then the first comment under that was a guy saying like, without sounding patronizing, how exactly are you living your life? What kind of discount are you looking for? If it's $30 or $40, that's a moderately priced meal. Perhaps you could consider whether your musical career is important enough that you could sacrifice that meal, and then you'd be able to afford the plugin.
Wow.
And it got heated real quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's heavy duty.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what the internet's like these days. It's a shark tank, you know? If you're swimming in it, you're going to get bit.
Yeah, I mean, the riff is a hot topic on the internet. Like, no one gives a shit about the song. It's all about the riff. James Price says, this is the riff I wish I could forget and rediscover for the first time. Because as of now, it does things that even drugs don't do to me.
Dude, am I on crack? It's not a good riff. It's not even a good riff. When the drums come in, it's really weak.
That's what I mean. Like, then people are like saying Layla is the only one that holds a candle to it.
Like Layla Unplugged.
Like
Layla Unplugged.
Two shittiest riffs. Like,
what are these people doing? I feel honestly a little bit like I'm in a kind of opposite world when it comes to this one.
I thought you'd enjoy this one.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like, it's kind of cool. The start of this gives me the same feeling I get when the drums kick in with Phil Collins in the Air Tonight.
That's what I'm talking about.
Same energy.
It is the same energy.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of an American Psycho energy. They probably like Huey Lewis. An eggshell,
but like
business cards.
But like it's like certain British artists give them that feeling. Like Phil Collins and
it's boomer energy.
Another hot take on YouTube was that Team Run Free says this song always hits differently when the volume is maxed out. Oh. And I've read a lot of comments about the difference between listening to Money for Nothing at like an average volume and when you really crank the stereo. There's a big difference. So I'm going to have to try that. I haven't tried
Maybe it's because it needs to be it needs some kind of like analog distortion. And once you start peaking it out, your speakers naturally will do that. Yeah. Because it's clean as fuck.
Well, especially when you listen to the CD.
Well, yeah,
because as The Lamb says, first major digitally recorded, mixed and mastered album, which is true. It was digitally recorded.
Yeah.
Why worries? This is his go-to for like the tech specs. Why Worry's outro was specifically made to take advantage Can't even get through
Yeah.
it. Specifically made to take advantage of the dynamic range of the DASH to CD process. Hence, it's cut from the LP.
Oh, unreal.
Apparently, it's not on the LP.
Because they couldn't sonically.
It's not.
I think
doesn't
this
do
is
it justice.
This is all just a. I think this is because I've been thinking about this record and like why it's so successful because it all seemed it's just a marketing. It's successful because of marketing. It's like people got told that like MTV just existed, so it's the first video, it's the first CD. It's like people just bought it for that reason.
Yeah, that's what I think.
think they bought it to be like it's like buying a new iPhone.
Yeah.
They bought it because it was the newest technology.
And because like the Money for Nothing riff is like fun or something.
I was looking.
I do like So Far Away.
It's kind of a Dylan vibe.
It's a good feel.
It's funny that he like just was originally sort of doing Dylan. It's another guy like with Petty did the same thing, just doing Dylan, and Dylan was like sweet,
But like,
yeah,
just like more like reined in Dylan.
yeah.
Or
So he's
something.
like, so that's sweet. Come and do Slow Train Coming with me.
Yeah,
It's
like
like
Dylan,
not-
like so, it's almost like Dylan
yeah.
chased out the like Dylan people. I was like, I'll work with you.
Yeah, I like
Weird.
the Dylan guys.
Like he took the Heartbreakers
Yeah,
on the
I know.
road and like been
I
like
know.
no. Weird. He's like, you kind of sound like me.
I like it.
We should work together.
yeah,
It's kind of bizarre.
It
man.
is, and then the same with Knopfler. It's like
weird.
kind of like
But I guess it's kind of like George Harrison working with Jeff Lynne or something too. It's like
Yeah.
these guys feel themselves so,
so
hard.
much. He's like, this guy's got
They're
it
just
right.
like, yeah, whoever it is who like worships me are the only people I want to work with.
I got a review here from a journalist who originally gave. This is a conspiracy because I was reading loads of the reviews when the record first came out. They're all shit. All of them are like, this record is it's very average, and like this is a bloated rock and roll band who were good at one point. Now they're not good. So, but this guy wrote the Rolling Stone one, and it was pretty bad. But this is him. This is him rewriting his review. How much blood money was he paid? Looking at this record now, with 2020 vision of hindsight, the image on the sleeve of Brothers in Arms seems uncannily prophetic. That national steel guitar heading up into the clouds, a shiny six-string rocket devoid of any obvious means of propulsion, describes, better than any words can, what happened to Dire Straits after the release of their fifth studio album. Up till the summer of 1985, success had for them come as a byproduct of music-making process. They had never courted celebrity, chased fads, or played safe. Dire Straits had been loved and respected as one of the few bands to have maintained strong and credible links with the roots of rock and roll at all times. Remember all the desperate pop posing of the early 80s when roots were emphatically not a fashionable place to be. I'm thinking that
But I don't understand. He's saying this album sucks, but they were a good band in the early 80s?
I think he's saying that like they still on this record aren't chasing fads and 80s fads, that they're still just a roots rock band.
Insane.
Yeah. It's like all these, they've got like it's the most 80s sounding record.
It is.
They've got like early like Fairlight
first digital recorded
synthesizers.
album,
First digitally recorded album. And like it's all programmed drums. The guitars sound so bad because they're going through like a CMI Fairlight like guitar synthesizer or something. I don't even know what's going on.
Look, I should make something clear here.
Yeah.
I'm a Dire Straits fan. Okay, I want to make that very clear.
Yeah,
I was given the album "Making Movies" as a Christmas present. CD
Was it on CD?
CD by my aunt Jeannie when I was about 18, and boy, oh boy, do I love that record. I think it's a wonderful record. I think Romeo and Juliet's one of the great love songs.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a wicked, like, 4-piece rock band record. Also featuring the piano player from the E Street Band on that record. But and the first album is arguably even better. I mean, but yeah, I just can't really get behind this period too much, mostly because of the really bad synth work.
It's the synth stuff's really bad.
Yeah.
And like Tunnel of Love by Springsteen is around the same time, and they nail it with the synths. Foreigner 4 nails it with the synths. It's weird.
Is Tunnel of Love that late? 80s?
Yeah.
This is 88.
No, it's
Yes.
85, surely.
No, I looked it up last night.
Brothers in Arms? No, it can't be. Is it?
That's what I think, dude.
It's 85, man.
Oh, fuck. Forget it.
It's 85. I was thinking about these people are just gonna have to deal with this one, man. Money for Nothing lyrics. What's the swear word he says in it?
Get into this?
What?
I was wondering if you get into this.
Get into what? What, saying faggot? I mean, it's one, he's English.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. It's a nasty word, though. Like, I get why it's censored now, obviously.
Is it
But-
censored?
Of course. Actually, weirdly, only in Canada, I think.
I mean, it's a rude word, isn't it? But we're allowed to say
it's
rude
offensive.
words in England.
It's
Yeah, but we can
offensive.
say rude words in England in a different way. I can say that word. Get in trouble for it is fine over in Canada. In England, it's still rude, but, you know. He's using it he's not using it literally in the sense of, like, he's using it as it's being described to him.
Of course.
And, you know, he's being smug.
Well, people mistake the meaning of the song, which is two working class men who are moving. They're like moving refrigerators and TVs
And
around,
microwave ovens.
and they're sweating. And they look up at a TV and they see a rich, bloated rock star up there, and they're talking to each other. It's a dialogue about how it's easy. You know, that's an easy life.
Yeah.
That they wish that they had.
Yeah, he's gloating, isn't he?
Yeah, and they're racist. They're homophobic
Yeah.
men. All the stuff banging on those bongos like a chimpanzee.
Yeah, of
I think
course.
Knopfler knew what he was saying there. Like
Well, he
that,
often wrote about... Yeah, of course he did. He's from Newcastle. I mean, he often wrote about depictions of working class culture within his music, those early records too.
sure.
You know? And he was a teacher, right? He was like an art teacher or something, or like a cultural studies teacher. So he's not like...
The hilarious thing about when it actually was in Canada where the censorship first happened, or where they
Really?
omitted that verse.
They omitted the whole verse?
Yes.
They didn't just beep it?
No.
I mean, they could lose a verse.
They
There's
cut the
quite a
verse.
few verses.
It's a bit
Yeah, it's like
long.
8.5 minutes long. Probably because Sting said, if I'm going to be on it, I need at least 5 minutes.
So
It's weird how Sting just is singing the Don't Stand So Close to Me melody. Like,
Yeah.
don't stand so close to me. I want my. What was he doing in Montserrat?
Well,
Just
let me get to
getting
that.
tantric.
But so they censored it in Canada, or they like refused to play it on the radio or something.
Yeah.
This happened in like 2013.
Yeah.
The year.
It's still on the radio.
The quote from Knopfler was the best. He was kind of like, okay, like they asked him what he was like. Well, he's like, clearly, you know, they don't understand what the song's about, but at the same time, they can do whatever they want because I've already made my money off of this.
Yeah.
Like, and it was kind of true. It's like a bit of a moot point. The song's 30 years old.
Yeah.
But anyway, I get it. I get it. But Sting, okay, now we got to get into this studio because I don't know much about it. Where they recorded
What,
it.
in Air Studios
Because
in
I
Montserrat?
can't think of a more hilarious, like, sort of yacht rock, like, bloated, rich...
What, in
like,
George Martin's studio in Montserrat?
on an island,
Yeah.
and where Sting happened to be.
Yeah.
At the same time that they were recording Brothers in Arms. So tell me a little bit about the studio, will you, James?
Well, I don't know much about it specifically, but I know that they were using a Neve console, which, if it sounds like that, is not one that I want to use. Because I read a quote from Knopfler saying, the record is the sound of that Neve board. Let me look it up, because it's not one that I've got a UAD
Well,
plugin
I'd like
of.
to
so
tell
I can't
you,
tell
I did a little research on this board, buddy.
I know that it went into all the big studios. It was in East West and stuff. So
Yeah, but can I tell you...
tell me all about it.
Can I tell you it's not just in East West,
No.
James? Do you know where else it exists?
Tell me.
Electric Lady Studios in New York City.
I mean, that's the one that I'd like to go to. I mean,
Ocean Way in Nashville.
Oh, man.
And how about this one?
Yeah.
Electrosonic Sound Recording Studio in North Vancouver.
What?
Yes.
Where's that?
Number one, I've never fucking heard of this studio.
That means there might be an 8078.
And The Warehouse.
No, it's not in the warehouse. It's not the one that's in the warehouse, though.
The Warehouse, I looked it up. It is the only one that is the exact same as the Brothers in Arms one, which was a modified.
Well, it has the preamps. I've recorded on that board, but it was before I was into this stuff. So that's a Brothers in Arms special?
That's the only one
in 8078
on Earth.
I thought it was
that is the
three
same
of them.
Modifications as the Brothers in Arms.
Well, the
board.
modifications on that board at the warehouse are that the preamps are in carts, so they're not like connected to the console themselves. You can move them around, so you can like plug your bass in. You can wheel some of the preamps with you to plug your bass into and stuff.
Oh, very cool.
It is really cool, but I didn't think that was an 8078 board.
They were talking about that specific version of it, that the only one exists at the warehouse.
Well, we should go there and record
100%.
on it. I recorded there one time. We should. I probably could. I mean, it's not like this COVID. I mean, the only people who record there are like Paul McCartney.
Once we're setting up the Patreon,
yeah,
maybe that should be one of our goals
instead of Ocean Way.
Well, yeah, because we can do it during the pandemic.
It's true. We'll switch it to Ocean Way.
Look, I'm starting to talk like you, aren't I? We can do it, can't we?
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at this right now. It says that the rarity of these consoles makes them quite valuable. The Neve sound has featured the classic Neve sound. This doesn't suggest that this board has been used on these people. Look at this list. The classic Neve sound has been used on artists, including Steely Dan, Nirvana, Megs McLean.
What? Who the hell is that?
Someone new. She must have put herself into this article. Pink Floyd. So it's been used by Steely Dan, Nirvana, Pink Floyd, and Megs McLean. Dire Straits, Quincy, George Clinton, and Chick Corea.
But like,
I want to know about the
Nirvana for sure, because it says Sunset Sound. There's one. Do you know why? Because Dave Grohl bought one and put it there.
Shit, man.
Because he's a fan of he's a connoisseur of the classics.
Okay.
James, do you know? Have you ever listened to the Beatles live at the BBC?
Oh yeah, there. Look, the other console is in use. Amazing. It's in the warehouse.
Yeah,
fantastic. I show myself up here a bit. They've got a good Wikipedia. Let me look at this. Okay, Studio One. Yeah, that's the SSL. No, it's an A6630. Okay. Studio 2, built by George Martin. Fantastic. Look at this.
Yeah.
So with split console, the mic pre's are remote, meaning the actual pre's are housed in rolling carts on the live room floor. Okay, well, and they got the 31106 EQs. Yeah, this is nice, man. We got to go down there. Do you want to go down there tomorrow?
Yeah.
Have you ever been in there?
I can't tomorrow, but yeah.
Well, I mean, come on. You're only doing a dead man style thing. That'll take you about 15 minutes.
Well, let's just book it and do 20 podcasts in one day.
Try and just get whole of next year taken care of and then take the year off.
We'll get a case of Cuervo Gold.
Yeah.
An 8-ball of blow. I don't know. What else do we need for that?
Well, we have to rent, if we're going, we have to rent the Fairchild. Because they have a Fairchild 670 there.
Yeah.
And you have to rent it because it's
Why? I will demand
that
I don't know about you, but my personal vocal go through that.
I was just thinking we could use it on the 2-bus, really. I was going to I want to use the Blueface 1176 that they have. I mean, the pre's themselves are good, and then maybe we can go.
I'm going to need the Fairchild just for my stuff. I think
for a Beatlesy feel.
It kind of complements my voice a bit better. I think. No offense, but
I've got a nasally voice. It does push it down a bit.
It complements.
I'm going to use the Air Band on those 31106 pre's EQs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, fuck. Tell me a little bit about Dire Straits, other than
why don't we get into?
You know that every person in New Zealand bought the record. Every single person. I read about it.
Does that say something about the people of New Zealand?
Well, there's 14 sheep for every person. and every person.
And 1 in 14 bought Brothers in Arms.
Every person, which leads me to believe by math that 1 in 14 sheep
also bought it.
Well, yeah, because there's 14 sheep for every person.
Right.
And like 11% of the population went to see them play a show or something. It's pretty weird, isn't it?
I think that as a guitarist,
okay,
Mark Knopfler is in my top 10.
He's the best at nicking from J.J. Cale's school.
Well, no, the best at nicking J.J. Cale's school is Eric Clapton.
Well, he just nicked J.J. Cale's music. He just stole it, and then he was just he probably just gave J.J. Cale really good heroin.
Yeah.
Was he doing drugs, J.J. Cale?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was junked out as
so he
fuck.
probably gave Clapton. I feel like Clapton did that with a lot of people. Did it with George Harrison's wife, didn't he? He nicked her.
He did it with his
wife.
wife.
He nicked George's wife.
Oh, I thought you meant something
Patty.
else. Yeah.
Patty Boyd.
He stole his wife.
He stole his wife, and then like when he died, did like a concert for him. Like really weird energy.
Well, they were still friends.
Sure, you know.
George
and then
said, "Better him than some other bloke."
Really?
Yeah.
Better him than some other bloke.
That's what he said, yeah.
And then, but he never credited J.J. Cale. He never says anything on the songs. No, like on like After Midnight and shit. Cocaine and After Midnight. No one knows unless you like into.
He also
into
made his version of Cocaine was like a #1 hit or something. That goes to show you how much people were having a good time.
It has a bit of a Dire Straits Money for Nothing energy,
but
like
his version's so much worse because he turns it. The song that J.J. Cale wrote is actually an incredible song.
Yeah,
because it's all about the real truths of cocaine as a drug. He's got all these lyrics in it.
Yeah,
where he says, "When the evening is gone and you want to run." Cocaine.
Oh, it's kind of got
it's a dark energy.
Psychotic.
But Clapton changed that line to "When the evening is done and you wanna ride on cocaine."
Oh.
So he turns it into like
Sleaze,
a pot
because
he's
party.
delusional that he's like, this shit's good for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then the other line is J.J. Cale has this line in it that he says, "Don't forget this fact, you can't get it back. Cocaine, like the time you lost doing it, right?" And Clapton just chose to omit entire lyric.
You sure he's not talking about like when you give it to your mate and they go into the bathroom?
Oh, that.
Because no one shares it.
Yeah,
it's not like a sherry drug.
Don't forget this fact: you won't get it back.
Yeah, they'll go into the bathroom and you'll never get it back.
Yeah,
what's gone is gone.
It's also like
it's weird how it makes you compulsive like that. You know, like only that drug really. Uh-huh. I guess it's expensive maybe, but how it is a sort of thing that people do secretly. I know loads of my mates do it secretly, and because I haven't really done it very much in the last few years. And but I know my friends who do it secretly because they think that they can't tell that they're on coke, but they are. It's interesting, and they don't offer it. Unless there should be a thing with coke where it's like, you're only allowed. People should mantra on it a bit and be like, if I'm going to do it, everyone's doing it with me. Mm-hmm. Like I'll be that guy instead of like the secret user. But
yeah, it's probably the right way to go for sure. It's just got a dark energy. It has
a dark energy. It makes you nick people's songs and not credit them and their wives, and
then name your album 461 Ocean Boulevard.
Yeah, well, that's because of the Grease guy and the Saturday Night Fever guy. It's mad that Stigwood brought him over from England, sought him out, get him off the junk, gave him his place in Malibu to record.
I think he laid on the floor most of the time.
You think that Robbie Robertson in The Last Waltz, when Clapton comes out, you think Robbie Robertson had already figured out his improvised blues solo and got Scorsese and said to Scorsese, like, when we do somewhere up the road or whatever, somewhere way down the road, what's it called?
Further on
up the road. You're gonna hurt you like you hurt me. And like Clapton hadn't like played live for like 5 years. That's his first appearance. And Robbie Robertson just like slays him. Just completely knocks him out the park with his solo. But like, don't you get the feeling that kind of Robbie Robertson had done a Clapton and been like, I'm going to fucking school this guy, so I'm going to practice this solo. I'm going to probably get Scorsese to film me doing it. Let's get all to look really improvised, so I can forever be on 35 millimeter being better at guitar than Eric Clapton.
I've heard you talk about this.
I'm convinced
before.
Yeah,
and I really don't know, because I don't know if he schools Clapton as much as you say he does.
Okay.
Robbie's solo is good.
Yeah.
And the timing is apt when Clapton's strap breaks.
Yes, exactly.
But
that just feels
I want to
believe
that it happened naturally.
Yeah.
In that case, I wouldn't put it past Robbie Robertson, but I want to believe that happened naturally.
It's a goddamn impossible
but in the case
way
of
life.
Mark Knopfler, had he been at the Last Waltz,
sure, he'd have probably played. He'd have been great. He'd have been fresh.
Great dad energy he has as a guitarist.
I think he just
like my dad loves
dads.
Mark Knopfler.
All dads.
It's like a thing. It's like he's like he loves it. He finger picks.
Yeah.
Because he's like, my dad. The amount of times my dad was like, he fingers. He's a finger picker.
Finger picker.
Yeah, he doesn't use a pick like those other guys.
Does he not even just have a pick in one bit?
Just fingers. No finger picks either. Just fingers.
We should have got Mike on for this one. Remember when Mike crushed Sultans of Swing at Ben's wedding?
Well, that's got to be top 3 ever solos.
What, Mike's version? When Mike did it, for me it was.
Yeah.
I'd been emceeing that wedding all day. We'd been through, the Ayn Rand of speeches. We were there. and then you guys played, and Mike, you can rely on that guy to come prepared.
Yeah.
That was his moment.
Do you know the story behind the music?
I don't, but I'm going to counter with this quickly. Do you think if Mike had been on The Last Waltz, jamming with Robbie and Eric, that he would have prepared a solo to outplay him? Or do you think he would have gone toe-to-toe, fair, let's just go out there and let's just see what happens in the tradition of blues?
Knowing Mike, he would definitely have just been respectful and learned a solo and done his kind of... He would not try to outshine anybody.
No.
No.
You're a man of the people, isn't he?
But I want to just tell a little Dire Straits story about myself here. But it was mostly, obviously, Mike's moment in the sun when we did that at the wedding.
Yeah, it was amazing.
The funny thing was I was living in Spain when Ben was going to get married.
Listen, you know how I feel about good stories. They need to be told over and over again. I fucking love this one.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Can't tell. No, but I'm gonna act as if it's the first time I've heard it, and I actually get more excited knowing I've heard it because I know it's so good.
Right.
Yeah.
So Ben said, I was living in Valencia at the time, and he said we're getting married in August, and I said, well, we're here till October, so my lovely young bride,
my
Alex.
lovely young bride.
Yeah. And
he's Johnny's actually. We tried to get in touch with him, and I'm tensing my fingers now. We tried to get in touch with him to work alongside Mike on this endeavor, and Johnny's a busy guy. He's a painter, an artist too, and he was living in Valencia, with his beautiful young bride. So when we were getting him to I got to learn to do Don Simpson. I'm going to learn Don Simpson.
Learn the impression.
Yeah, I will. And then I'll do that bit again.
So Ben said we're getting married in August. I said we can't make it. We're coming back in October from
No
Valencia.
can do.
No can do. And so we ran out of money living in Spain. And
Dinero. No dinero.
No más pesos.
No más pesos.
And I said to Alex, we kind of got to go home, so maybe we should schedule it and go home for the wedding. And I knew there was a wedding band that was going to get together and happen.
Sure.
So I got in touch with the people organizing the wedding band because I wanted to surprise Ben, and, Mike was involved in all these people. And I said, well, send me the list of songs, and I'll pick 3 or 4 that I can sing and play.
Yeah.
And Sultans of Swing was one of them.
Yeah.
And I talked to Mike. I coordinated. I said, okay, you're going to learn the solo. Okay, well, I'll learn the chords. I'll learn the Chris Knopfler part.
Yeah.
And all the lyrics and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned it when I was in
It's
Spain.
all about that drum fill, isn't it, really?
Yeah, actually, the rhythm guitar is really good on it.
Yeah. Kind of a Spanish feel.
Yeah, it does. Boom, black, down.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah,
It's
it is.
interesting.
Yeah,
It kind of is a bit of
probably
a-
why I was able to.
You probably had learned that you'd had the duende.
Yeah, I was able to kind of.
Really harness that kind of feel because you've been living with the duende.
Yeah, I mean,
Kind of like staring out into the ocean, the moon has a halo, my love has died. You know, you're playing that and like kind of sailors are coming off the water, you know, blood coming from a stone on the, you know, on the
I used
distant
to
shore.
run. I used to listen in Valencia. There's a river, an old river that ran around the city.
Yeah.
Almost like a moat that's
Yeah.
now drained, and they've turned it all into a park.
That's nice.
And I used to run around the city and listen to it, you know, to learn it. So there's a bit of that.
Yeah, you definitely had a bit of an else
so
to
we
it.
flew. We had a journey boy back to Canada. We had to fly. We changed our flights and all that.
So let's go through the flight.
Yeah,
Because
so
we
I-
got about 20 minutes, and I don't want to talk about Dire Straits again.
No.
So
So I
where
had
you
to
started,
fly-
you flew from Valencia.
I had my Telecaster with me.
Yeah.
Some of you saw it on our Instagram account.
The
earlier.
blonde.
Yeah.
Kind of 52.
Honey blonde.
52 reissue.
Honey Blonde, the 52 reissue, exactly.
Kind of a broadcaster, actually.
Yeah, well, it's not a broadcaster, but yeah, it is that.
I'm
reissue.
looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see you got a modern bridge on it, though. You don't have...
No, that's
Oh.
the 52.
Do you have the plate?
Yeah, the plate's there. Got it.
Yeah, but you can
Oh,
put-
I don't have the cover plate.
No.
No. Anyway, so we originally had a
neck for
direct
everyone
flight
listening.
from Barcelona home to Vancouver.
So you were
That
going
all
to get the
changed.
train up to Barcelona?
Yeah, that all
Okay.
changed though. Yeah, so we had to when we wanted to go home early, we had
Stop
to
in at Bar de Marsella for an absinthe, maybe, on your way home.
Yeah,
Just
exactly. Las Ramblas.
Sure, well, you could. I mean, I was thinking more off the Ramblas, personally. But
Yeah, I don't really like Las Ramblas, honestly, but
it's nowhere to be.
no. And so we took the train to Barcelona. Then we had to fly Barcelona to Paris.
The Gracia is where you want to stay in Barcelona.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's sort of the
Yeah.
Barcelona to Paris. Then we went Paris to London, and then we went London to Dallas,
Classic.
and then we went Dallas to Toronto, and then we went Toronto to Vancouver.
There's a great flight if you're trying to get air miles. A lot of quadrants.
It was weird. It was
Yeah.
weird that we had to do
El
this.
Born, too. That's a nice area of Barcelona.
So we were on it was like a 23-hour trip.
Yeah, it's a long one.
We get to Vancouver. The rehearsal,
Vancouver.
the Vancouver.
Vancouver. Yeah.
So we get to Vancouver about the rehearsal for the wedding
Yeah.
jam is at 7. We fly in about 5. We get there. I say, Alex, you got to go home. I got to go to this jam. Haven't slept in 2 days. And this is actually kind of a famous story because
It's gonna be famous
A lot
now.
of musicians from Vancouver who were involved in the wedding performance were there.
Yeah.
And they always think this was hilarious. They love it. So I arrived at the China Cloud where the rehearsal was
Sure.
at about 6:45 after brought my guitar. Alex took my bags
You're
home.
like Paddington Bear or something.
I walk up the stairs to the China Cloud,
Mm-hmm.
and I go in. Mike's just arrived. He's drunk.
Yeah.
He's been at the PNE seeing Steve Miller Band.
Yeah.
He's drunk. I literally have nothing in my I can't even say hello to anyone because I'm so tired.
You don't even know about Wild Mountain Honey. You don't even know about it.
So I walk up. Everybody's in their positions. I
Position.
told them in advance, have an amp ready for me.
Yeah.
Have an amp ready.
Presumably, it was something along the lines of the Dan Electro Honeytone belt buckle.
I mean, yeah, I think it was probably some sort of a Fender Deluxe reissue kind of. It was fine. So I walk up. I didn't say a word to anybody. Mike was just setting up his tone. I walk up. I plug into the amp. Take my telly out. Plug into the amp. I look up. I look at Mike. Haven't seen him in months. I've been living in Spain. And I said, "Sultans of Swing," and I counted off 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, let
feeling
down.
yourself.
Best version ever played besides the Dire Straits
original
version.
demo.
Way better than the version we did at the actual wedding. That first rehearsal version was absolutely.
You must have been like feverish though, because you'd not played with people, you know.
Yeah, it
So
had
you
that
just-
energy.
You had that kind
The
of.
one at the
like-
wedding was great too, but
I was
a
out
lot
of
of
it,
people
but-
have since told me
Yeah,
that scenario of walking in and just
added. It was a fever pitch. Yeah,
and you know
It was like,
Mike
"What's
and
he
I
got?"
Mike and I
Tension.
had that
tension and energy.
tension that
Yeah,
had,
kind of hot and cold water. And Ben is the lukewarm
yin
water.
and yang. sort of.
You are a bit of a yin and yang energy.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
true. Yeah.
definitely.
Anyway, that was a really long story.
It's a great story, though, man. I would have killed to have been a fly on the wall in that session.
Oh yeah,
We've been
kind of like
there.
the Jimmy Page, Paul Allen.
Yeah, I'd have killed to have been there when I see you come in your like, in your kind of like sombrero. With
I had a big beard just like this.
yeah. You look good with a beard. Told
Ben
you.
said I look like the Unabomber at his wedding.
Really? I don't remember.
There's a
don't-
famous photo of him getting married.
Yeah.
Like
Your
at the
head
at,
is behind
and
it.
somebody like zoomed in on me, and I've got like
Yeah.
crazy like circle sunglasses on with like a giant beard.
No, were you wearing white?
I was wearing like a Hawaiian shirt and like a white suit.
Yeah,
Like, it
a
was
white
really-
suit because you're a kind of man from Del Monte because
Yeah.
you've been eating oranges.
Yeah, exactly,
You've been in
yeah.
Valencia eating
Yeah.
oranges. You kind of had a Paul Bowles Sheltering Sky energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how consistently we keep finding Spanish energy in these songs and albums that we
Buddy, You're
did.
dealing with the Cuban here.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the records we've been doing.
Oh yeah, well,
you
I mean,
know. I know we're dealing with Johnny the Cuban, but
I mean, you know,
but it's funny because they don't have their own music in terms of like popular music because of, and I have a theory on this that I'm just making up, but because they were a fascist dictatorship throughout all the major cultural moments of popular Western music, that's why Spanish people have such bad style and confused relationships between all of the different historical moments in popular music. So it's like they just didn't have the Beatles, I assume, because they had Franco. And so they wouldn't have had the Beatles or any of that stuff. And then like
black market. They had
sure,
it.
yeah, for sure. But you know, having that stuff opened up to you at a certain point in what, like the 80s, suddenly having this like, oh, you've the last 20 years of like crazy
Yeah.
Western music means that it's all in the wrong order and things get like put together. And also like no punk, you know, probably
Really?
just like Dire Straits. When did Franco transition out of being the...
I'm not sure.
Certainly worth looking up.
Dire Straits had a little bit of punk energy, though, didn't they?
Well,
they toured. They
using
famously
words like, yeah,
didn't
faggot.
they famously tour with the Sex Pistols? Or?
I think they took the Talking Heads
Talking
originally.
Head- oh, yeah,
so it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
new wave punk.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
art
but it's
punk.
there though a little bit.
Yeah. I can imagine them, Sultans of Swing, that first record, you know, that with, I don't know what, more songs about building some food. 77?
Yeah,
I can't imagine, actually. It's all arty, I suppose.
yeah, it is.
But like one of them is arty in a kind of like Warhol way, and the other is in like a taught Goldsmith's like art history teacher way. So it's, you know, it's different. Really accomplished players,
Traditional Dire Straits are definitely
really
I don't
accomplished
think that-
players. Dad
yeah.
energy.
Yeah, I
kind
don't
of. It's pub rock a bit, which is interesting. I
It
don't know
is.
their relationship with that stuff. Is there a relationship with pub rock? Brinsley Schwartz, The
Ian
Attractions. That's after, really, I think. Stiff Records stuff. But that comes out of it.
Is it after? I mean, the first Dire Straits
77?
like 77.
Okay, it's about the same size. Yeah, it could. Jory himself could be a bit after that, but
It's London. Dire Straits are London bands.
they're from London, but
Yeah.
none of them are from London.
right. Okay.
Yeah, they're all transplants. But they've all they're all like old, I think, too. By the time
They seem like it. I mean, Mark Knopfler looked like he was 40, like on the first album.
looks younger now than he did then.
Yeah.
It's one of those guys who's aged backwards, kind of Benjamin Button style. He's younger now than he was then.
My dad loves him, but only because he finger picks and sounds a bit like Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
Why-
it's smooth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, I think that like Knopfler producing Infidels with Sly and Robbie, the reggae artists, as the backing band is the most Bob Dylan thing that ever happened or something. Because like, how the hell did that crowd get together?
You know, I was talking to Vom Cruz, who said, thanks for the shout out on the Bob Dylan meme, the, you know, Bob Dylan energy, we are the world energy. And I was like, well, no, I mean, it's godlike work, yeoman-like work from him to like make up that meme, and everyone's enjoyed it, you know, and he postulated, all I wonder is if Bob Dylan has seen it. Imagine Bob Dylan seeing that meme about himself.
It's like the closest thing we can get to now of like Bob Dylan like hearing our music. Or
is
something.
Like, did he see my meme that I made about his energy in the We Are the World? Is it We Are the World Live Aid or whatever?
Yeah, it's We Are the World.
Is Martin Knopfler in it? He's got to be.
Probably.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Swedish metal aid like song like that? I'll show you afterwards. And I'll post a link to it on our Instagram too, because
I mean, I want to know like what was going on with Bob Dylan in that video. Like what, like why?
Why was he there?
Well, and what the problem was? Like he
didn't know the song.
Stoned,
he
maybe.
didn't know the song. That's
he didn't
for
know the
sure.
song. I'm like, I think he just knew he was out of his element with all these like real singers. Which is like, I love his voice, but he can only sing his own music.
Great look in that era, though.
Actually, I like his Christmas album, too.
He has a good look, though.
Yeah.
His, like, single earring kind of vibe. He kind of embraced the 80s.
Pirate.
Did. Yeah, well, this pirate. That was his pirate bit.
Mm-hmm.
It was when he went pirate. Yeah. But he went back. Well, what about Dire Straits? What are they?
Oh, they're pirates.
Yeah?
For sure. Oh, yeah.
Kind of oceany.
Sultans of Swing.
Yes,
yeah.
the Dire Straits.
Kind of the bar, yeah. Like that whole song is just basically about like
technical pirates, though.
Showing up to a sort of.
They're like internet pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Like a digital
classic brother band.
Yeah.
You know, there's many great brother bands.
AC/DC.
Yeah. Oasis, Dire Straits.
That's about it.
No, there's lots of other ones.
Come on, let's name some. Let's see out this last couple of minutes by trying to name some.
No, you put me on the spot. There's a lot, though.
The Jackson 5.
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Okay. I'm gonna no phones, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Creedence is a good one.
The
Kinks.
Kinks, of course.
Oh, fuck. Vom saw Dave Davis the other day.
Really?
Yeah, I was saving it for the podcast. He texted me he called me actually about it because it was really exciting. He was walking on Hampstead Heath, going for a walk, a COVID walk, and Dave Davis walked past him and he said, fuck, because you see Ray when you're in Highgate a lot, you know, you see him because he lives around there in like Hornsey or Haringey or something. You see him because he's a Christian, isn't he? So he goes to the church. It's weird. I think he's like born again, which is really sad. But you can see him when you're there, and he's around, and he's a miserable cunt. There, I can say that because I'm English. And yeah, but Sam was up on Hampstead Heath, and Dave Davis was walking towards him. He's like, "Fuck, that's Dave Davis," and he was wearing Wellington boots, a kind of Barber jacket, like a waxcloth jacket, like the one I wear, and a little leather trilby hat. And Sam said, "All right, Dave, how are you?" And he said, "I'm good, my son. How are you? Have a good day." Which I just think is great. And it made me think, I want a little leather trilby hat. You know, all of the clothes look like he could have had them for 40 years.
I've been wanting to get a hat
a new hat.
Yeah, like a Lennon Nilsson kind of cap.
A flat
cap. That's more of a
flat cap.
Yeah, like a flat, like a wool.
Oh, okay.
You know that style? Kind of a Dylan too did that.
Not like a deer hunter, like Holden Caulfield one where it's got the
no, just like the flat cab driver cap.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to get it.
Kind of a skiffle look.
Yeah, well, it's more like 70s, weirdly.
Kind of 70s being skiffle.
Yeah.
I just wear it. I've got
It's more of a like we're hanging out in L.A.
Yeah.
and so drunk, we're getting so messed up all the time that we never have time to have a shower. So you just have to have
an
an
Italian
on
shower
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're kind of like a tiny toque guy.
Well, just right now.
Just a tiny toque, though. Like the ones that kind of like, they kind of signify that you have vinyl, those toques, I think. They're kind of a vinyl guy, too.
Well, they're not. There's no secret about it. They're Army and Navy toques.
Dollar toque.
Which was the place on East Hastings in Vancouver where they had a bin of dollar toques.
Yeah, it was incredible.
That's all they are. I don't know anything about the size of them or anything.
I used to have hundreds of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't have them anymore, but I've got one toque. I threw everything out. I had a sort of panic a few years ago and just threw everything out. And I got one toque and I've had it. But now I've got a cap now too. And that's what I wear. But yeah, I was thinking of getting a little
We should get some caps and do
just
kind of
be like hat guys.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool.
It's because it does rain a lot, right? So it's practical too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that's something to think about.
100%.